But I think passive income has kind of been one of those words that's been a little bit bastardized over the years. It's like all the people out there are like, oh, passive income this, passive income that. And I look at a lot of these people that talk about passive income. I'm like, that's not passive, man. That takes a lot of work. So like when we define passive income, I think sometimes we really got to kind of peel the onion once, sometimes twice, and say, what is true passive income? Can you give me some insight on your vision and view of what is passive income?
Absolutely. I think passive income enables an individual to enjoy freedom in their life. There's nothing better than being with your family on vacation and seeing, money roll into your bank account. And that's an absolute blast because it allows you to be providing value for somebody else while also being able to focus on the things that matter most in your life. And like you said, a lot of things are not fully passive. I mean, we could argue like real estate is not fully passive, right? Because there's
no.
Right, management of properties, and you've got, or you have somebody else doing it for you, and you're paying them to do that. Digital
That's
assets,
definitely not passive either, man, because then you got to go manage them. And then, oh man, a lot of people say that. They're like, well, I have a property manager. It's passive.
Exactly.
When I had maybe I just had a bad one. When I had a property manager, man, that was more work than me managing the own property because I always felt like I was yelling at them for not doing the job that I was paying them to do. And I felt like I made a lot less doing the same darn thing. That wasn't passive.
Yeah. And I love this point that you're making because I think in passive income, it's what allows us to make money while we sleep. There's still going to be some effort required or some understanding or learning that takes place. But it's something that allows us to be able to live the lives that we want to live and the lifestyle that we want to have with the people that we love and not be on the job working a 9 to 5 in order to do it. And it's rewarding that way too. I think sometimes people have this idea of getting something for nothing, and that doesn't create any sort of meaning or fulfillment or purpose in an individual's life. But if they can build something that creates actual value for another individual or their company that pays them while they're sleeping or while they're on vacation, then that is ideal. And that's something I would classify as passive income.
I could agree 100% there. And, we talk a lot about our family and our kids, and my daughter's only 2, but the TEDx talk I'm doing in October and the book that I'm writing following the TEDx talk is a book for my daughter about teaching her the importance of money and the laws of wealth, but also teaching her what you just said is the one thing that I think we have all wrong in society is we don't pay ourselves first. We don't really even we say we understand it, but we truly don't because we pay our expenses, we pay our debtors, we pay our creditors first. And whatever's left, the scraps, if you will, are what we pay ourselves. And we do that because we've been brought up to think that to make money, and there's some truth to this, but to make money, we have to trade hours. We have to trade hours for dollars, more hours, more dollars, or hustle harder and make more. And we've all been brought up in that whole mindset. But the problem is when I look at the wealthy and what they do, they're not working harder. Some would say they work smarter, but that's cliche. What they do is they make their money go to work for them. They've amassed some money, which I'm sure they worked hard for. But once they did that, they understood that the second phase is that your hours are limited because there's only 24 of them every day. It's all we have. No one can make more hours in the day. And those 24 hours are 100% priceless. Like you can't value your hours. I know we're always like, oh, I want $25 an hour. I want $100 an hour. Like you're underpricing yourself no matter what that number is because your hours are priceless. And until you understand that, and until you grasp the importance of that, that's the only time you're going to be able to then start making your money go to work for you. And I love what you do because that's truly what it is. I mean, everybody's ears probably got perked up and they got excited when you said mailbox money. We've heard that, you walk out, you open it and there's the check. Man, I freaking love mailbox money. But I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of like, how did those checks actually make it in the mailbox? Oh, no, I don't mean the postman delivered it. I mean, like, where'd it come from? Was it you working or was it from your money working for you?
It's a great question. The way that this is kind of structured, it's cool. So I talk about digital real estate with what I do with the people in the program. And ideally, like when somebody owns a property, they rent it out and that renters will pay the owner a certain amount every single month because they're using the property or living there. it's really, really cool. Digitally, it's a new way to be able to generate recurring income that people aren't familiar with, but they should be, because it's very easy to set up. And it's something in finance or economics, there's this term called asymmetric risk, which I love. And it basically implies that there's a whole lot of upside for an individual with minimal downside. And those are the ideal types of businesses to be focused on or to get into, because you've got a lot of opportunity, right? And so basically what an individual can do is they can build a page that they can drive traffic to. And by traffic, I mean individuals that are interested in a particular product. And then they can rent that traffic out because they own the traffic, they own the page. They can rent that traffic out to business owners that need it. A good example would be, like, let's say that there is an epoxy flooring owner. We'll call him Jim in this case. Let's say that he has just started his business 6 months ago, and he's really, really good at covering epoxy floors in a garage. Because he's so good at that, he probably doesn't fully understand how to acquire customers very well yet. And so it creates this symbiotic relationship. If somebody like me or one of my students can partner up with that individual, and they can say, hey, we'll give you people every single month that need their floors epoxied. We'll just send them right to your cell phone. And you're going to be making those epoxy guys, they usually make about $2,000 per garage that they cover.
Dude, send me one of those guys that only charges $2,000, because I've been getting quotes. It's like 4 to 6. So if you got a $2,000 guy, please get him out here.
Right. It's more expensive. So on the conservative side, like, to give them the benefit of the doubt, two grand, and on, like you're saying, the upper ends, it's 4 to 6. And so what's, to your point, it actually makes this even more meaningful for them, because we could send them 15 to 25-ish, 30 people in a month that need their floors done. And if they could close, let's say we sent them, 20 people, and they're able to close 30%. So they close 6 of those people. And let's say that it's $4,000 per floor, right? They're going to make $24,000 in revenue just from the people, and they didn't have to do any work. So the difference is, some of these dudes, they're going door to door, right? Or gals, right? Going door to door, trying to find business, sending out mailers. They just don't know how to do it. It's hot outside. They're losing time with their family. They went into business originally because they wanted freedom too, but they're finding that they left a 9 to 5 to be in a, 8 to 11, at night. And so it's
true statement.
It's tough, right? And so it's crazy. So what we want to do is we want to help. And so we can basically say, hey, you can hang out at your house at home with your sweetheart and your kids, watch an episode of The Office while your phone rings with somebody else that needs their floor epoxied. And all you need to do is close the deal and go do the job. And I teach the students, it's really, really nice if they own the traffic and they can rent it out for $1,200 a month and help somebody else make, good money. It's a stellar way to do it digitally with no risk at all. So to think about it, like, let's say a student on the low end, let's say they're charging $1,200 a month to one of these companies, right? And let's say they've got 10 clients, which are really easy to find. They could find that within a month's period of time. They're now making $12,000 a month in recurring income, which is or recurring revenue. And the profit margins are usually, from where they're at, they'll be making about $9,000 profit, which is so cool after a month, because in real estate and real estate's great too. It's absolutely stellar. I think diversification is super important. So to be able to have money in all kinds of places across time and assets, to be able to, really, really do well. So if an individual understands how to make money digitally, it'll be another arrow in their quiver to success.
Yeah. And I've heard of this. I mean, I know a lot of, like, out here, just Buffalo, we get winter, we have like every season you can have. And sometimes you have the same, or you have 4 different seasons happen in one day. It's a miracle, but you should see it happen. It's sunny and beautiful. Then it's hailing, then it's snowing, then it's raining. It's wild. But in doing that, what we have is we have a lot of tree companies, because, you get ice on the trees, they fall down, they take wires down. So that I know this one huge tree company, and I don't understand this. You probably do, but I drive by, they're right over by the airport. I drive by their facility, which is a tiny little house, and like 100 of these trucks, like these big trucks. And I'm like, how much do each of those trucks cost? Are they really taking down that many trees? And I found out, because one of the guys that worked there, he says, yeah. I said, how do you guys get all this business? And they said, well, we don't even do any marketing. We just hire a company and they send us leads and we just go out and cut trees down. And I'm just like, what? Like, that's why you guys operate out of a house? He's like, yeah, all we do is you just have one person there taking phone calls. And when we get a job, like, that person calls everybody or calls one person, dispatch, and we dispatch the trucks. Well, all right then, because marketing is a pain in the butt. But that's what I know of this, and I'm sure that works for lots of businesses. I just know of it in the tree business, and dude, that company makes a ton of money, and they just sit back and wait for their phone to ring. Crazy.
And the cool thing about that, I love the point you just made, Chris, too, because on the other end, there's this symbiotic relationship that's been created between three parties here. One is the customer, like they need trees cleared, and so they're receiving a ton of value. The other is the actual tree company, right? Because like you said, they're working out of their house. They can totally relax. They're getting their phone ringing like crazy and people that are interested. So they're making a whole lot of money. And what's really, really cool is the individual that's actually providing those leads, that traffic, because they're making recurring income, right? They're being paid monthly. And they don't have to do much at all to be able to make that work. And so that's really what we capitalize. And one of the things that's quite different about what we teach is we actually tell the students to build their own asset to drive traffic to and rent out, in comparison to using the asset of an individual business, because then they don't own it, right? So in this case, if it was the tree company, instead of tying into the tree company's assets, they would build their own, and it would be like a tree cutting company asset, but they would own the traffic so they could rent it out, which is, it's so fun. It's really cool.
That's crazy. I mean, I understand the like concept of it, but like, it seems complicated. I mean, I run, we have a large marketing company for what we do and all of our different companies. And like the marketing is crazy expensive. I mean, between $20,000 and $50,000 a month is what we're spending on our marketing team, our production. And it's like 2 full-time jobs doing that. Sometimes I wish I could just have somebody just send me all the leads that were cultivated the way I wanted them cultivated. And then I don't have the need for all of this. And that's kind of what you're talking about, that you train people to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the important things for an individual to understand is that whenever they're looking at a particular business opportunity, a really great decision is to identify a value gap, places in the market where there's pain points that can be a solution can be provided, right? That's meaningful, because an individual won't necessarily pay for time that's invested into something. They'll pay for value created. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have somebody that's working at McDonald's for 8 hours a day, making $10 an hour. And so they're making 80 hours a day times 5, $400 a week, $1,600 a month, but they're working a lot harder than I am working at McDonald's, and I just think, man, there's so many better ways, right? Because when we can think of opportunities in life and in business to be able to provide real value, people are willing to pay a pretty penny for that. And when you can fill value, you help them a ton too, right? So this home service niche and this industry is an absolutely stellar place for people to focus. And the reason for that is, for a long time, over the past 10 years, people have been flocking to tech, which has left home services wide open, blue collar work so they're making out like bandits, right? They do really, really well. But they're focused on a core a competency, which is HVAC or plumbing or being an electrician or a painter, an epoxy flooring guy, and they don't know how to find business. And so if you can go in there and help those guys or those gals, right, with getting business, they're willing to pay good money for that, which is awesome.